This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the WCRA and Rank Ride. Guys, WCRA, World Champion Rodeo Alliance, they're putting on the Stampede at the E event August 11th through the 15th in Guthrie, Oklahoma at the legendary Lazy E Arena. With 4 days of qualifiers, the projected event payout will be $600,000. Athletes can enter the Open to the World pool for their chance to compete in the one-day $300,000 rodeo on August 15th. Youth athletes also have a chance to go head-to-head with pros when they enter the DY pool for a chance to compete in the August 15th Stampede. The Stampede at the E champion will be eligible for the Triple Crown of Rodeo, an annual bonus that pays $1 million to any one athlete or collection of athletes who wins first place in any 3 consecutive WCRA Triple Crown designated rodeos. Guys, at the moment, this CBS televised broadcast event is the single best opportunity in the world for rodeo athletes and rodeo fans to watch this event. Entries for the event will remain open until August 5th at 5 p.m. Central Time. Entry fees for the Open division will be $625. The DY fee is $500. All entries will be taken on entrytool.com. That's entrytool.com. For more information about the event and WCRA as a whole, visit WCRArodeo.com. Have you guys ever played fantasy football, fantasy baseball, fantasy basketball, fantasy whatever? Well, now you can play fantasy bull riding. Rank Ride is the PBR's official fantasy sports app, guys. Go to rankridefantasy.com. Sign up through the store, rankridestore.com, to get your membership for a chance to win big cash prizes and giveaways. Guys, Rank Ride is changing the way you interact with PBR bull riding. It is one of the most exciting endeavors I think we've ever seen. Rankridefantasy.com and rankridestore.com to check it out.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradu.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, we have got Tyler Milligan. Tyler is a PRCA tie-down calf roper. Tyler is the previous Rookie of the Year. He has won Houston, qualified for his first NFR this past year, did really well. He's got a great horse. His horse has won AQHA Horse of the Year 2 years consecutively. Can't ask for much more than that when you own a horse. So we kind of just hang out, shoot the shit a little bit. He drinks a couple beers. I drink a couple other things. Check it out. So you live in Stephenville, so you cruised up just now, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's 80 miles.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just hop on the highway and go. But one thing that I always thought was kind of interesting about you, well, I mean, I can't pretend like I'm a Tyler Milligan expert or anything like that. You're kind of just getting going. But when you see somebody goes to the NFR, and what did you place in 6 or 8 rounds, right? You did pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know how many rounds I placed in. I won a round and split a round, and then I placed along through there pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, there's some horror stories of people's first NFRs. I'll never forget my sister's first NFR where she ducked off on like 2 barrels and didn't do too well. Came back better the next year. But, I mean, for you to be in there, what you ended up like 3rd overall or something like that, right?
No, I ended up.
Oh, you were 8th. That's right.
Yeah, it was 8th, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, maybe it was 3rd in the average.
No, I was going to do good in the average, and then I got the jerk down in the 9th round, which cost me probably winning 3rd or 4th in the average. Right.
Yeah, and we were talking before we kind of started recording, but you, no one in your family rodeoed like you did, right?
No, nobody like pro rodeo, tried to do anything like that. My dad roped and bulldogged and stuff, but just right around the house, just to do it,
right?
Because he always had to do work or do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the only one that's been fortunate enough to try it out.
Right. To try it out. Were you just kind of like just dipping your toe in? It was like, shit, I can rope calves pretty good. Or I mean, how did that go? Normally, nobody's like, I tried it out. Usually, people are like, I put everything on red. And it was either going to be that or I was going to be homeless. That's how most of those stories start.
Yeah. Well, I always roped from when I was a kid on, but I never really roped that good. Like, I just kind of was entered, when I never won like a superstar, everywhere I went, I won first, and I was going to be this phenom or anything like that.
Right.
until I was about 16, 17. Then it kind of clicked a little better, and I thought, well, maybe this could be, I could do something with this. But when I was, in the 12 and under and the 13 to 15, going to all those junior ropings and stuff, I didn't have a lot of success. Not as much where you'd think that I could rodeo for a living.
Sure. I mean, was that because you just didn't know if you were into it enough to put a lot of practice in? I mean, that's how I was.
No, I practiced all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fortunate enough we had a covered arena, and we roped all the time, and it just never clicked. I just had hell. Just one of those kids that just had hell.
Did you play other sports?
Yeah, I did. When I went to school, I played football, basketball, and track, but I got homeschooled when I started high school, my freshman year, I guess. And so then I just roped after that. And I think that might have been what made it click a little better, was that I started putting in more hours and dedication into it.
Why did you – so you went to public school and then started homeschooling?
Yes,
Usually
sir.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, I went to public school, and then after my 8th grade year, I just thought, I kind of like doing this roping deal, and I begged my parents, actually, to do it, and they let me, and then it just kind of went from there.
Really? I mean, were they hesitant to let you do that at first?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And now looking back at it, I kind of wish I wouldn't have, because, you only get to play football and basketball and do all that stuff for a certain amount of time, and then when you're too old, you don't get to do that anymore.
Right.
And you can rope your whole life.
Yeah.
And but hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
Is
See,
what it is.
that's super interesting because, like, for me, and I think my sisters would agree. We all went to the same school, but we went to like a big high school. I mean, like that was like the time of our lives.
Yeah.
We didn't really rodeo or do anything until high school and junior rodeo started in the summer. It was just like
seasonal kind of.
Well, it was seasonal for us, because we were deep into all the high school stuff, whether that be just having the fun or playing. We all played different sports, but I mean, for me personally, I don't think I would have traded that for anything. So, do you think you kind of regret missing out on that?
Yeah, I do. I do now, but like it is what it is. You can't get upset about it. But I would have liked to have probably went to school and played football and basketball because I really enjoy those sports and stuff, and never gonna get to do that again.
Right. I mean, you were able to. I mean, a lot of people like rodeos the supplement after that, but if you want to be the best at something, I mean, you kind of got to choose, right? And you just made a choice early.
Yeah, you probably do have to choose. Some people have to choose, some don't. I chose to do that. I don't know what made me do it. Might have been because I was just not wanting to go to school. I don't know.
You think you just were like, forget this school stuff?
I don't know. There's no telling what I was thinking back then. But I did, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were telling me that your mother was a dermatologist. So, I mean, that's a really interesting line of work for somebody who ranches, too. I don't know if I've ever heard of like a... Yeah, that's just interesting, especially in Oklahoma. It can't be too many dermatologists in Oklahoma, judging by the people.
Yeah, no. Well, she's originally from Idaho.
Uh-huh.
And then she moved down here because that was just her whole dream she wanted to have a ranch or whatever. And so they had one in Pawhuska. We had 1,000 acres, which really isn't a lot for what everybody around Pawhuska was, but it was enough. And they had that. I was born in 97, and so we lived there for 17 years. And then they decided to get a divorce. And then, they had to end up selling the place and stuff like that.
Mind me asking, I mean, why was that? Just didn't see eye to eye anymore?
I really, they just didn't get along. It was easier they'd still friends and everything, but it was just easier to just not be together in order for everybody to be happy, I guess.
Right, and you got how many siblings?
0, just me.
Oh, it's just you?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. And, well, when they did get a divorce, how old were you?
I was 17.
Okay, so you were on your way out of school. So
yeah.
One of those situations where probably they stayed together for longer than they should for you, you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes,
yeah. So when you're 17, it doesn't affect you probably all that much.
No, not that. No, I mean, because you've kind of already gone and out on your own. You're not in that home environment or I wasn't anyway, when I was 17.
Right.
And that where you see your mom and dad every day. You know, I was gone off by myself.
Right.
So I didn't see them. I didn't see either one of them for weeks or months at a time. So,
right.
No, it didn't affect me hardly as much as you think it would.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny. My parents got divorced when we were young kids because they had a horse training operation together. And, I mean, it was one of those ugly divorces that you – God, how old were we? We were young.
Yeah.
You know, so total opposite. I would have way rather probably had your situation, but it's good that you had parents that probably were thinking of your well-being because it screws you up when your parents go young.
They was right. They did right by me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So, and you're close with both your folks, more or less?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Probably closer with my mom.
Really?
I talk to my mom more.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because – moms want to talk a lot more than dads probably do.
Yeah, they do.
So,
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you had high school rodeoed, freshman, sophomore, all 4 years?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yep.
And then were you focusing, because we were talking, you won the high school finals in team roping, not tie down. So were you focusing like more on team roping at that time, or is this kind of how it went?
It's just kind of how it went. Because I always would team rope and rope calves, everywhere. Like even when I started amateur rodeoing, I would just team rope and rope calves everywhere I went because I had a good head horse, and I headed pretty decent, and that's just what I did everywhere. But then when it come time to, I was gonna go to the pro rodeos, it's hard to do one event, let alone do two, and I just had to make a decision, and I chose calf roping.
Yeah, I mean, why was that? I mean, you would think you would have chosen to head.
Yeah, there's a lot more money in team roping for sure with the jackpots and stuff. But I rope calves better, and I kind of like roping calves better. Actually, it's more fun for me.
It is a lot. I mean, because I also team roped and tied down, and what most kids do in high school rodeo, they do both generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the nice thing about tie down, it's just you. It's you, and if you got a jam-up horse, it's just you and that horse, which you obviously have a jam-up horse. Yeah, big time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep,
that's him.
Yeah, I mean, so when you went from high school rodeo, and then you transitioned in on your permit, and then you got Rookie of the Year after that.
Yep.
So did you have a lot of help, though? Like, or were like calling into pro comp and doing the whole thing? Was it because you didn't have like that family element to kind of help guide you through it? I mean,
man, I've been lucky enough or blessed or whatever you want to call it with a lot of good friends that know and that'll help me, and just whatever, I'd find the right people to go with, and they would always enter me and show me, and now I've learned how to do it, which I still don't call pro-com every day. Timber Moore, I enter with him and he calls it. He's good at that stuff, but I've been around enough. I know now how to do it and what to do. But at the beginning, my rookie year, I started out rodeoing with Caddo Llewellyn, and we was rodeoing along, and then my rig broke down at Reno, and I had to leave it at Reno. I never got it back till Cheyenne, and so we had to rodeo in his rig he's got a wife and 2 girls and a 12-foot short wall, and it was us 4. I guess 5 of us. And, and I didn't have any clothes because all my clothes was in my rig at Reno. And so everywhere I'd go, I'd have to borrow a shirt or it was a kind of a trying rookie year, but, I learned a lot and had fun. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for you to say like it was that hard to win Rookie of the Year, it probably made it a lot sweeter, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that was my goal, was just to win Rookie of the Year, and I kind of wish I'd have set my goal high, because that year I just planned on I want to win Rookie of the Year. Like I didn't think I was good enough to make the finals, and I thought that was a bad mistake of just setting my goal at winning Rookie. Right. I wasn't as high as it needed to be.
Well, were you kind of just like, I mean, because when you're in your rookie, you're not going to get into all the big rodeos.
Yeah.
So was it just you just didn't think that you could do it on the smaller rodeos? I mean, what was the thought?
It probably, with me, the way it was probably just, I probably didn't think I was good enough.
Yeah.
Like I just thought, I kind of felt like you had to do it in steps. You have to win Rookie, then you have to make the finals. Like it doesn't it doesn't happen at one time. And my mindset was in a bad place as far as trying to get to the ultimate goal.
Right.
And it shown. I mean, my goal was just to win rookie, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
I really felt like, I'm not saying I could have made the NFR that year, because I didn't even make it the year after that.
Right.
But I didn't allow myself to even think of that as a possibility.
Right. I mean, so did you have people telling you to do that? Like, were people like saying, "Hey, homie, check yourself a little bit"?
No,
it's probably not going to go how you think, or was it the opposite?
It was just me.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, because you see all the people making the finals, and when I was 19 at the time, I was just like, man, I can't rope with those guys.
Yeah.
And that's no way to be. You can't ever think that way. And I've
Right.
learned, that's some of the stuff you learn. But that's how I was, and I think it hindered me quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the next year, I mean, you probably would have made the finals next year, right? It was because that was before the Houston money counted. There was something.
Yes,
there,
I won
right?
Houston in 2018, but
Yeah.
the Houston money didn't count.
Yeah.
Which is part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
But can't use that as an excuse. I ended up 18th, and I had towards the nut crunch time, I just didn't rope good. Come the Northwest and stuff like that, when it was
Right.
time to win money, I just didn't do it.
There's a lot of pressure, though, when you're on the bubble in the last quarter of the year. I mean, that's probably the most stressful time for anybody who rodeos when they're on the bubble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's no fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you just have to drive, do the whole deal. And so you would have been 20, I guess, that year, and to go through it that way. But, I mean, we all know so many guys who go and never even break into the top 20. I mean, there's people who go broke and kind of wreck their lives trying to get there. So, I mean, you win a rodeo like Houston, that's like a big.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. It was, and it was great. First time I ever went to Houston. And then it was weird. They roped walking fresh calves that year, and I don't know. It was a big deal because they don't ever hardly rope walking fresh calves there, especially the way the rules are now. You can't jerk them down.
Right.
They don't ever let us tie them hardly. And I won the first round. I had a really good calf, and then basically after that, I drew good, and it was just easy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't happen for a lot of people. A lot of people have hell at Houston, just in general, in every event. Yeah. Like some people think it's like a cursed rodeo, barrel racers. But I guess when you got through that year, though, you probably, I mean, did you always have like confidence issues? Like just all throughout kind of your youth and your life?
Yeah, I would say I do.
Yeah.
I still do. Not as much now roping, but, just in general, I just kind of get negative and get down on myself pretty easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a lot of the reason why I haven't. It took a while to learn how to deal with it and how to just be mentally tough enough to make the finals and to compete at that high level.
Right. I mean, were there a lot of times when you're kind of going through that up and down stuff, especially when you're in that situation where you're 20 through 16? I mean, were you thinking that maybe you'd made a mistake going that route, rodeo wise, or?
I wouldn't say that I made a mistake. It was just I would just get frustrated at not capitalizing on chances to win.
Right.
I never I still haven't ever regretted my decision of rodeoing.
Yeah.
But when you're on the bubble, or whatever, for me, I would just, you go to thinking about, oh, well, that one time I broke that barrier, that would have been $2,500, or that time I missed that best calf on them, I could have placed there and won $1,800, and then you just go to adding the money up, and then you're just sitting there like, oh, well, I'd be 12th, and just stuff like that. And you can't do that, once you get done roping, it's over. When you leave that arena, I mean, you can give yourself 15, 20 minutes, get pissed off, do whatever you want, but when you pull out of the driveway, it's done. You got to be thinking of the next one, and you've got to be ready to rope over there, because if you let it boil over, and then you end up with a whole big mess that it's no fun to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, if you carry that negative energy, and really, it's not even just rodeo, right? It's anything. Like, if you carry that negative energy, anything, it never ends well. It never puts you in a good place.
No.
But, I mean, you kind of had, last year was kind of like your redemption year, right? And normally we don't go like chronological order with the rodeo talk, but it's kind of interesting to hear, because it's like, you don't have an Instagram really. You don't really do anything on Facebook. You kind of like went to the NFR, but didn't really say anything about it on social media. And that's like one thing that I find interesting about you is, what's up, Ty?
I was going to say, he's living off the grid.
Kind of are living off the grid. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are those people who do that? What are they called?
Doomsdayers or
Doomsdayers.
Doomsday preppers.
Yeah. Is that what you are?
No, I don't think I'm that.
Do you have a bunch of canned food buried in your backyard?
No, I don't. I only have about 3 or 4 guns too, so I don't have as many as them doomsday preppers probably do.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, so when all this COVID stuff started, like, did you go out and like try to buy guns and ammo and all that stuff?
You know, I haven't because I did. I'm lying.
Yeah.
I went to a buddy of mine and I got a shotgun, but that's all I got. But I didn't go to. I actually probably shouldn't even said that because now they know I have a shotgun. But
Well, now they're not going to come bother you.
Yeah.
It was like a home defense shotgun, a little short one.
a regular one. I don't even know. I'm not a big gun guy, but yeah, I actually went and bought a gun. Just I don't even know why I did it. Just because I did.
Just because everybody else was doing
Yeah,
it.
it looked like the thing to do.
Yeah. So when you bought it though, was there like a 3-day wait period and all that crap that was going on? Because I know I tried to buy one, like it'd be 3 days. So like I don't have patience for that.
Well, no, yeah, like I actually just bought it. Just paid cash for it from a buddy of mine.
Oh,
So, yeah.
but never mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're out there in Stephenville. It's like, what's going to happen in Stephenville?
Yeah, probably nothing.
It's interesting because it's like you came out with a pretty dang good first NFR, right? And
for the most part.
Yeah, but the year before, you were 18th in the world, and your horse won Horse of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Which I didn't think. You know, I know my horse was good. He's a good horse. He really is a good horse. He lacks speed to be like one of the greats.
Pretty little, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's little. You know, he does all he can do every time, and that's what makes him great.
Yeah,
is he gives you everything he has every time, and he's just limited. And speed is the only thing I would knock him in at all. But I didn't even think that I had a chance of winning or he had a chance of winning Horse of the Year that year because I didn't make the finals. Like no one was going to ride him at the finals. I didn't make them. I thought he might win third or whatever, but I didn't think he would win it.
Well, so that year, did a lot of people ride him? Like, did a lot of people win checks on him? Because that's usually one of the things that determines, especially in tie down. Cause
quite a few.
Jump ride.
Everybody rode him. I mean, I never tell anybody no, hardly.
Really?
Yeah. I don't ever tell people no because you never know when you might need something.
Yeah.
And then, and so I just never told anybody no if they wanted to ride him, and if it wasn't muddy or situations wasn't bad, I'd let him on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably the best way because the road's long and it doesn't take much, and then you don't have a horse, and then you need some.
Then you're in a
help.
bind, yeah.
So, and when people can come to you and they know that, I mean, that reputation gets out there.
Yeah.
But it's always interesting when people win Horse of the Year who don't go to the NFR. It's like my brother-in-law Billy's horse won that last year. And I think he was 16th, was like the worst spot to be.
Yeah.
But then you win it again the next year. So that had to probably be a little more shocking, right? Because there's some good horses out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good horses out there. I mean, I knew he had a good chance the next year because I made the finals on him, and there's a bunch of people that rode him that made the finals that year. Marty rode him, Hanchy rode him. They rode him at San Juan, and I think they won like 5 checks on him at San Juan, So, which that's his rodeo, the calves are walking fresh, and you just need to jerk them down and get good goes, and that's what he does. So that's a good spot for him.
When did you get him?
I bought him in 2016. Yep, I bought him from Ronnie Austin, which he lives in Ringling, Oklahoma. He was just a horse show horse. They never really rodeoed on him. Didn't get along with him. And I just bought him. Cody McCartney told me, hey, there's this horse. Thinking you can go try him. I went and tried him. I tried him on a roping, and I won the roping on him. So then, you're kind of like, well, shit, I guess I got to buy him.
Right.
And so I bought him, and first little bit, when I permit rodeoed on him, and actually the very first rodeo I took him to was a college rodeo. And, I thought, I just bought a really good horse, we're going to do good, and I get smooth outrun at this college rodeo. Don't even get close enough to throw my rope. And I was just...
Did you run him all the way to the fence?
Oh, I just chased her forever and never even got close. And then then you just start thinking, well, golly, I just bought this horse and now I can't get along with him. I've spent all this money and can't. But the first while, it took us a while to get used to each other and everything. But once we got used to it, it's been pretty good since.
Yeah, I mean, you got them when you were young, so you probably didn't have very many horses that you probably had.
No, when I had him, I had, which now I got 3 head. I've always had about 3 horses, but none of them was, as good as he is. They're all steps below, but I've always had a couple.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't had any issues with him being sound, really, so you don't really have to use too many other horses.
No, knock on wood, he's always been pretty good. The only time he's ever had any problems was he got pneumonia at San Antonio this year, and he was out for a month or so.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, kind of going back to 2019 NFR, I mean, luckily you had good friends and everything kind of tell you what to expect, but that's always the funny thing about Vegas, right, is you get there when it's your first time and it's just a weird deal, right?
Yeah, you don't really know what's going to happen, but it's a fun, it's like, I don't even know the word to describe it. You're just always anxious. The first time it was so fun for me just because everything was fun and you was anxious for everything, even the grand entry to going from your grand entry, going all the way back to the rope and shoots, walking through there, just everything. You was just always anxious every time. It was just you're just kind of sitting there just shaking, ready to do it. And I was just so glad I got to do it. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there were some real interesting people at the NFR last year in tie down. I mean, you were first time, Shad was first time, Haven, who, what's funny about him is, he won the average and he won the world.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Shad's kind of done a good job of brushing it over with the year he's had so far.
Isn't it? Yeah. Well, and you'd think, like, with the way that COVID's ruined the entire 2020 season, maybe Haven could get a little more shine. I mean, not a whole heck of a lot of people win the average and the world, let alone their first year,
time. Yeah. Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I mean, Shad, I don't even remember. He didn't do good at the NFR, though, did he?
He did okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he did fine. He had a calf get up to win around, and then, he won his fair share.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple things go better, and he won a lot more.
Yeah.
That's everybody, though. So.
It's true. Yeah. I just found it interesting that a kid like Haven comes out and wins both, and just nobody talks about it.
Yeah,
I've always thought that was strange the last few months.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the way Shad's done this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with the way the years are going, I don't even know if there's going to be an NFR.
Boy, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, what is your opinion on all that? I mean, just kind of sitting back, watching, being somebody. You're hurt
I don't know.
now.
Yeah, being hurt, I don't know. There's still a good chance I'll get in this year, though.
Yeah.
And I hope to come back and rope sometime, but before the year is over. But I don't know. I don't know if I think they'll have something somewhere, but I don't think it'll be at Vegas, and I don't think it'll be for $26,000 a night.
I mean, there's talks around the water cooler that it could be at the E, it could be at Northside, it could be at a lot of different places, but if you don't have LVE, you're not going to have the money.
Yeah, if you don't have Las Vegas events, you're in a jam.
Yeah. I mean, puts a lot of opportunity on people like WCRA and all that too, which is a really fun organization. But kind of circling back to talking about your 2019, and when that was all said and done, and you get through it all and get through round 10, pressure's off. I mean, could you have been more happy with the way it turned out? I mean, for your first year, that's always an interesting thing. It's like you had to be pretty happy with the winnings you got, the earnings that you ended up with, how it all kind of rolled.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with it, but I'm pretty hard on myself, and I just, you'd always want it to go better.
Yeah.
I broke a barrier and got the jerk down to win a lot more.
Right.
But that's everybody. Everybody has something go wrong that they could say, well, if this happened or that happened. But it went okay. I learned a lot. If they ever have it again, if I ever make it again out there.
If they ever have it again, ever.
Yeah. I've learned or try to do some different things. But
Have you guys ever played fantasy football, fantasy baseball, fantasy basketball, fantasy whatever? Well, now you can play fantasy bull riding. Rank Ride is the PBR's official fantasy sports app, guys. Go to rankridefantasy.com, sign up through the store, rankridestore.com, to get your membership for a chance to win big cash prizes and giveaways. Guys, Rank Ride is changing the way you interact with PBR bull riding. It is one of the most exciting endeavors I think we've ever seen. rankridefantasy.com and rankridestore.com to check it out. Guys, it's not audio only. The Gauge is on YouTube. Every single episode's on YouTube. We got 4K cameras, the best stuff. Check it out on YouTube if you want to see faces. Bright, smiling faces. We don't just use this lighting for nothing. We video it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. Lots of people are watching the videos, but not a lot of people are subscribing. Please help me. Help us. Help the Gauge. Subscribe on YouTube. Just on a whim, they were like, well, Ivy was like, Billy doesn't speak, but Ivy was like, can you officiate the wedding? And I was like, well, I'm not a pastor. She's like, well, can you figure it out? I was like, okay, $10 later and Google, and you can be an ordained minister in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so I officiated their wedding, which was pretty hilarious. But and we set the whole deal up, and it ended up being pretty cool. But they did their wedding right where that house is now. Yeah. But it is pretty up there and real peaceful. Stephenville's, it's almost hustle and bustle there.
It's getting to be too crowded for me. You know, where I live, it's just, and I got 15 acres.
Yeah.
And it's just, I got neighbors everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's getting bigger.
Yeah, which is probably weird for you because of where you grew up. It was, and being homeschooled, you probably don't like people all that much.
No, that's probably why I don't talk so much, probably.
It's amazing we were able to fill a whole podcast.
Yeah, well, we're not done yet.
We are not done yet. Yeah, I mean, you're 2 beers in, so maybe you'll loosen up a little bit. But you think that you'll leave Stephenville and go back up there? I mean, you probably could. It wouldn't change much for you, would it? Other than not being able to rope at the jackpots all the time.
Yeah, like that's the only thing that is, different. Because, it's a long ways to Red Bluff, California from Pawhuska, Oklahoma, and from Stephenville, Texas.
Yeah.
It ain't like you're much closer to any good rodeos, any pro rodeos, hardly.
No.
I mean, when you strike off, you're gone, and you're gone. It don't matter where you live at. And so that's about the only thing that Stephenville is, and the real estate's really good down there.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. But then the jackpots, you can go to a jackpot one during the week, and then they'll have something somewhere on the weekends where you can rope, and there'll be 60, 50 ropers, and you can win you enough to, have some money.
Well, and I mean, you got the best competition down there too. Like, if you need to stay sharp especially when because they are having jackpots, but they're not having rodeos really anywhere. They keep getting canceled. Even still, it's like, come on.
Oh no, it's insane.
But when they said that they were not going to do Cheyenne, I don't think Cheyenne's ever not happened.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, which it makes sense. Like, if you talk to somebody on a committee, right, they'll tell you that, well, it's the insurance is a problem and you can't do anything else.
Yeah. I understand all that, but then Cheyenne cancels, and then Cody has their rodeo.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you can't say it's a governor's deal or whatever, but oh well, that's why they make the decisions and I don't.
That's a good point.
I don't know nothing about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, too, because even if you try to find the answers, you can't really, because it's not like anybody's ever experienced this before.
Yeah.
So that part has to be taken into account, right, is nobody's really dealt with kind of what we're going through, especially in the rodeo world. Yeah. I mean, I don't know of any rodeos that have ever been canceled that I can think of.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a tornado or something.
Yeah, nothing due to health reasons, that's for sure.
No, yeah, and then just to have it be such a weird health deal, but... It's one of those things that you just have to wonder when it ends,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the reasons or answers for that. And if you do, please, I want to hear.
I wish I did. I wish I could be like that special person who comes along and solves all the COVID problems. But I don't. If the president can't and that Dr. Fauci guy can't, I don't think any of us simpleton cowboy people are going to be able to do anything.
But I really do believe that if this virus would have happened 20 years ago, nothing would have been shut down because there's no social media.
I mean, 20 years ago they had the
H1N1 or whatever that was,
yeah.
and that was a bad deal from the numbers. You want to put numbers to numbers, but
yeah.
But there was no social media like it is now, and you know, not very many people cared because they didn't have this person on their phone telling them to care.
I mean, that's a good point. Do you remember not too long ago that whole deal where the people in the truck and trailer went through Tulsa through that whole thing?
Yeah.
That's like a perfect example of what social media causes, right? Because what was crazy about that, and I know because it was so funny because my sister had reposted that. Like, this is crazy, this is ridiculous, because she was on that road like 30 minutes behind them. Well, somehow somebody saw that, because Ivy has a fair amount of people on social media.
Got mad at her or something.
No, they thought it was
her. Yeah.
Yeah, it went crazy. Like, it got shared thousands of times. People were sending death threats, and this was all within like a 45-minute to an hour time. That's how dangerous social media is. I mean, we were all up, meaning like all of us, family and her friends and all that, reporting all these posts from these people who were sending death threats.
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it was the perfect example for why people should probably do what you do.
And don't do it.
And don't do it, because it is dangerously toxic.
Yeah, which that's not going to happen, though. It's done gotten too big.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a personal thing, and, you know, it has its good, right? Like,
absolutely.
Like it does, because some people are able to use it as a source of income, right? You know, it's funny, because we had this guy, Bonner Bolton, on here, right? And he was really a big up-and-comer in the PBR, and he landed on his head and broke his neck and was paralyzed and was able to come back from that to the point where he can't do anything or he could die, right? Because his whole neck's bolted together, basically, and he was able to kind of use social media as a way to transition out of rodeo and have a life. So, I mean, it has its good for some people.
Oh, absolutely.
But it is dangerous, especially with kids. Like,
Well, now you got all these athletes that, like, they'll get a big contract, and then there'll be people that'll go back into their Twitter accounts from when they was 14 years old and find something that they said, and they'll try to hold that guy accountable for that now.
Yeah, the cancel culture thing.
Yeah.
And it's like an entire movement. These people are just screaming to the point that their freaking blood vessel in their head's about to pop just ruin people's lives. Hey, Ty, who was the comedian? Kevin Hart, right? He got the cancel culture thing not too long ago because he was supposed to host like the Oscars or something. It is strange, and that's one thing I think anybody who's in the rodeo culture, the Western culture, should be pretty proud of is nobody gets wrapped up in like the politics really, or telling people what to think or believe, which I've always wondered, like, why is it that these mainstream athletes or Hollywood people, why is it that they feel the need to tell everybody else what to believe, how to vote? Like, isn't it weird that...
Well, yeah, I'm not about it at all. But I think that the way rodeo people are so down to earth is because all rodeo people care about is, are you a good person? Do you work hard? Are you going to, are you got a good heart? Are you going to help me if I need help? And I'll help you if you need help. And then if you don't, and, that's all rodeo people care about. That's what they look at. You get all these other people, and that stuff doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Especially in one-on-one competition stuff, right? Yeah. It's like it's a totally different mindset. I've always loved that about kind of our rodeo culture is, like, take you, for instance, sharing your horse with people. Like, there's a good argument that you shouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah,
right?
There's a real good argument. Yeah.
Or anybody else.
Yeah, they ride him and cripple him, break his leg. Well, he's over, and I lose that horse.
Yeah, or even smaller than that. They ride him and have a better run than you and beat you. On your horse, which has probably happened.
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
Isn't it? So, what's up, Ty?
Like I say, that sounds off. And for me, for someone to beat you on your own horse.
Well, okay, so Ty doesn't know anything about rodeo, but he's a master with the computers, right? So his perspective, like, he's learning this stuff the more we do, right? The more shows we do, the more people he gets to kind of come in contact with. And you see his face like wrinkle up when you like talk about people sharing horses, right? It's like, wait, what? You let somebody use your horse and then they got $5-10 grand that you didn't get because you let them use your horse?
Yeah. But the best thing is the mount money. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you get a quarter of that, so
Yeah.
that's a big reason right there.
Yeah.
You know, you let somebody like Marty Yates or Shane Hanchey or anybody like that ride your horse, well, good chance they're gonna win something.
Yep.
And then, you know, you're hoping you win something too. So if you win something and they win something, well, then you win. You make more money.
Yeah. No.
So.
Yeah. And absolutely. And there's a good argument to do that. And you know, you probably shouldn't tell people who don't know about the mount money that, because it doesn't make you sound as nice, Tyler.
Well, there's always numbers behind stuff.
There is. Like, you should let people ride your horse just to be a good person. But don't forget about the 25% I get from your money, buddy.
Yeah.
Man's got to make a living.
Well, Ty, one thing that especially someone who doesn't understand rodeo and the cost to go is generally higher than what you win.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've learned, especially listening to Ivy, to Haley's, that yeah, these winning numbers might be big to an outsider, but not knowing the logistics of trying to get there, that was a bit of a mind blown from me coming as an outsider.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, between feed, diesel, I mean, you put 60, 70,000 miles a year on a pickup that costs $80,000 now.
So
I mean,
that truck's done.
It's
pretty much.
It's worth nothing. So you lost all that money.
Yep.
You know, couple sets of tires on that truck, couple sets of tires on the trailer. Go down to the local feed store and buy a bag of Platinum and tell me how you feel.
Yeah,
you know?
close to $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no, it's and then your fees, which your fees are nothing, because that's fine.
Yep.
You know, you go there, you put your money up, that's part of it. But
yeah,
everything else, I mean, it's expensive to go.
Yeah.
That's why I've always been. I always try to go with like 3 people. I think 3 people is a good number.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, you're not crowded, and then it splits everything up 3 ways, and it just helps.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing that timed event people have against them that rough stock people don't is I mean, you hop in a minivan and go, it sure is a lot cheaper than hauling
Oh, absolutely.
4 horses. But,
yeah.
And for the same money.
Yeah.
But,
well, a lot of times the time event or the rough stock guys show up and they got double the added money than the time event people do.
Yeah. 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 I mean, which a lot of them, other than bulldogging, have less people in the whole pool. So, I mean, it's always interesting how kind of the logistics of rodeo. But either way, I mean, I think the way that they've structured, like now the American money counts, the Houston money count, I mean, there's more. Well, there's not more to be had, but that number looks so much more grandiose to this, and I think that's why they probably do it.
Yeah, just for the outside people looking at it. Yeah, not that is for sure probably why they do it.
Yeah, which it doesn't mean that these people are winning any more than they were before, because that money was there, it just didn't show up on the screen.
There already. Yeah, so you know. They didn't really bring any new money in because we was still getting to go to Houston. We was still going to the American.
Yep.
So all this money that shows up on the standings, well, it was already there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't in the PRCA
You split
website.
money at the American, didn't you?
No, I've never won a check at the American. I've won the semifinals probably in 18.
Oh, you won this. That's what it was.
Yeah. I won I won first and second in the semifinals.
Yeah.
They don't let me take one spot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's what you split.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought there was something there, but I mean, it's interesting. How did you hurt your leg, though? I mean, because you barely hobbled in here.
Yeah.
We could have put you in the handicap elevator. You should have said something.
No, heck, it's fine. I get around pretty decent. I just at Nephi, I was riding big time, and I run one of them out there about 4 swings, had a good calf, roper, and I go get off, and he gets in it, and then he just shoots out of it. And then he got right back in it, and it just slingshotted me out there. And I just landed on my right leg, and it just, you know, my leg hit, and then everything just kind of went forward, and it just tweaked it real bad. And
really?
I'm hoping that's all it is. That's what they said all it was just a sprain.
Did they do an MRI?
Yeah, I got an MRI and
X-ray.
X-rays, and there's no tears, no fractures, nothing. Just a lot of fluid and bruising is what Tandy said.
I mean, dude, if you're going to get hurt, it's like the perfect time.
Yeah, I mean, the perfect time probably would have been when all this coronavirus started, maybe.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
I mean, have to go to a rodeo
compared to any normal year.
Yeah, but you know, heck, it it is what it is. So.
Right. Well, I mean, you're not missing much, luckily. Maybe a few things here and there, but with where you're sitting in the world, if you can come back, if they do have an NFR, I mean, like you said, you'd probably still be all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I got enough money right now. I'm winning third, but after this week, I'll probably be winning 5th or 6th, and then after next week, I'll probably be winning 7th or 8th, you know. But I'm really hoping to be back by Guyman, which is the end of August.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well, I mean, what else are they having after that? Not much. I mean, it's only 2 more months.
Yeah. No, you're right. Not a lot. They're going to have the tour finale in Rapid City, which that'll be a good one. And then Fort Madison is having the Cent Shootout, and then they're having the rodeo, which that's the Cent Shootout pays $10,000. I think the rodeo adds like 11,000 or something.
Right.
So it's a good one.
Yeah, and they just announced they're doing circuit finals in Greeley.
Yeah, the Ram deal.
Yep.
So that actually took a rodeo away.
Yep.
Because we thought that everybody's gonna get to go to Greeley and it count.
Yep.
Now they're doing the Ram deal, so that took one away.
Yep, exactly. Which is a really weird place to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go from Kissimmee a lot of people don't like Greeley because the ground's so bad and just the whole deal.
Well, but you know, those guys that made the Ram circuit finals, I think they're pretty happy.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Somebody's still going to get the truck rebate. So
yeah, and all that money.
Yep, no doubt. Well, we better let you top off your beer there and then get back on the road because we're going to need to allow 30, 40 minutes for you to get down those stairs. So.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, Ty will carry you. He's strong.
I don't know what gave you that idea.
It was sarcasm.
I know.
It's a cute hoodie, though.
Thanks a lot.
This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content by Cassie Emerson. Our theme song is by Shay Ashshire and the Night Howlers. Make sure to rate and review this podcast as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you guys next time.